morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. It's Wednesday, March 28th, 2018. My name is Chuck Tomasi, and you are watching the community live stream live on YouTube. Let's make sure that it's live on YouTube. I had to do a page refresh just a minute ago, so I want to make sure that we've got what we need. Technically, things are working. Looks like we're good on Twitch. We are doing this simulcast both on Twitch. Where's my... Ooh. Must have been pressing the wrong buttons at one point. Let's try that again. I am doing this on Twitch, and we are live on YouTube. So if you are out there and you want to say hi, give me a shout out in the chat room, and I will respond back as appropriate. Good morning, Carolyn Romspert. Good morning, Aspinall Solutions. Good morning, Steve from Sweden. The regulars are checking in. How about you? You can subscribe to this channel, get notified when these things come up. I would love to see you. This is the show where I, Chuck Tomasi, the ServiceNow guy with the red bow tie, goes through whatever I can find in our online community, the greatest community online. I like to think so anyway. We've got wonderful people like that. James Hammond in the UK, also shout out to you. Hope everybody is doing well, doing great, and starting a good day. Or in some cases, finishing a great day and having a wonderful evening. So, enough about the introductions. We will be going through the community. If you do have a question, please post it in the community so that we get more eyeballs on it. We get the experts on it. If you put it into the chat in YouTube, it's going to get lost in the shuffle and it's going to be hard to reference later. So this gives us a system of record. As of about 6 weeks ago, the community is now running on ServiceNow platform, which is a good thing. We get to tweak it and make it what you need it to be. There are a number of features, and we've encountered some of these over the past few weeks, put them into the feedback, and we're starting to see them implemented already. So if you've got something you want to see about the community changed, let us know. I will also be using my free personal developer instance to do a little investigating. It makes a nice sandbox. I can trash it. I can wipe it at any time. You can get your own free personal developer instance over at developer.servicenow.com, along with all the scripting APIs, along with meetups. There is a Phoenix meetup tomorrow night, which I am planning to attend. Very much looking forward to that. Whew, it's early for me, off to a rough start, but do the best I can. Oh, good morning, Felipe. Happy to watch you once again here. Great webcast yesterday, Inside Tech Now, related to the application scope. Thank you. Thank you. Tech Now is the web series that I do with Dave Slusher and Craig Stepp once a month. We did one on the 22nd about custom application methodology. And we've got another one planned for April 26th around the REST API Explorer. And then we're probably not going to do one in the usual format for May, because that will be really working very, very hard on the three-banger series with at Tech Now. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to get that recorded. I don't know if we'll be streaming it live. We will be live for the people that are there live. That'll be great. But I don't know if we'll have any streaming capability. Bandwidth at conferences, as you know, is usually a sketchy thing. So we will do our best. What else have I missed? Developer portal, community, YouTube chat. I think we're good. I will also be using the docs. So enough of that. What do you say we jump into this and give it a try? I've got my cup of tea ready to go. One slam of that. Ooh, it's warm today. No doubt about it. Let's do a quick refresh. I am going to look for, as I mentioned, my name is Chuck Tomasi, right here on the top of the community. Can you believe it's only been really 2 years since I put my heart and soul into this community? It was sort of an on and off thing with a few blog articles here and there. But about 2 years ago, just before Knowledge 16, I realized my expertise is not represented on the community. So I threw myself into that and got caught up for about 8 years worth of information. How to use watermark in notifications to update request via inbound action. That part is automatically taken care of for you. What are you looking to do? I want to update request item based on watermark and notification used in inbound actions. I don't have any other condition to trigger inbound actions since it should purely based on watermark. It's automatically done for you. The current object is what you get when the inbound actions automatically do the lookup from the watermark table, which is sys_watermark, if I remember right, and make current available to you in the inbound action as the record being referenced. So when an inbound action comes in, inbound email comes in, the watermark process is taken care of for you. No need to do a lookup on your own. I'd cite a documentation, I'd cite the docs there for the watermarks, but I don't think it's going to shed any information. It sounds like they already know what the watermarks are for. Watermarks, if you're not familiar, are those little like MSG colon something on the bottom of your message. And as of, was it Jakarta or Kingston? I'm trying to remember. I think it was Kingston, but I could be wrong on this one. We've enhanced them to include randomized text string. So instead of just saying MSG 0010203, we find that we have a lot of customers that are sending email between their instances. And if the watermark on one instance refers to the record on another, let's say I'm sending out an update to an incident, and it happens to be a change request referenced on the customer's instance, that will update the wrong thing with the wrong record. So these randomized strings say, this is definitely mine. It makes it more unique, and you can control how much uniqueness is in there. Obviously, you don't want to make it unique to like 1 or 2 characters, but minimum of 8. You can go all the way up to whatever you want. I wouldn't go any higher than about 25 or 26. It's not like an RSA encryption thing. It protects you from getting that crosstalk. It also makes it harder from a security standpoint for people to guess what that could be. Think about a case where you're proofing something, that watermark, if it's very simple, could be very simple to hack as well. All I have to do is put together a message that says, I approve, with the right watermark on it, and it gets accepted. So if you use that randomized encoded string, 3, 2, W, X, Y, for uppercase and lowercase and all this crazy stuff, looks like a really good password, a bad one to remember, but a good one to have. It looks like a password. Then it makes it very, very difficult for the hackers to figure out what that watermark exactly is. So that's watermarks in a nutshell. More information than you get with just the straight answer that I typed in. And that, my friends, is why you want to watch this show. Good morning. Wow, we've got a good following today. Give me a shout out in the comments in the chat on YouTube or Twitch. Let me know where you're from. Love to know. Love to find out. We do have our regulars in there. I'm seeing some familiar names that join us every day. Whether you're on your commute to work or you're sitting down for your first cup of coffee, I'm glad you joined me. Thank you. My name is Chuck Tomasi, and I am having a blast. Let's do another one. OAuth authorization code flow. Tongue twister again. That was like GS flush messages the other day. I can now say that. OAuth is one of those things that I equate OAuth to hanging a door. I did this about 12 years ago in our house. We had about 10 doors to hang, and we bought all of the same size doors. And you would think putting a framed door into the space would be easy. I'm talking about the doors that you go from one room to another. Good morning, Chad from Atlanta. Good to hear from you. And each one of these doors was unique because it had to be shimmed just right and hung to the proper distance. And some of them needed to be planed because the carpet was too high. It was crazy. OAuth is the same way. It's a standard protocol. But do you need to get this token first? Do you need to... It's very, very twitchy in how OAuth works. Is it going to expire? Can you refresh it? What's the refresh URL? What's the callback? There are so many parameters around that. It's very secure. If you have OAuth available, I recommend it. But every implementation seems to be slightly different. So that's why every time I think of OAuth, I think of hanging doors. I don't know what you want to think of. Let's take a quick look and see what this is all about. Can't guarantee that I can answer it. As with many questions in the community, My specialty is in the platform, custom applications and integrations mostly, but there are other areas that I can help out with. Good morning, Justin from Chicago. Understand Chicago's going through a bit of a warm spell for spring. Hope it stays that way for you. Having spent most of my life in the Midwest, Michigan and Wisconsin, I know that spring can be a cruel trickster. It can be very warm one day and snowing the next. I always used to joke with my friends because Monday was my birthday, and they'd get mad at me because I say, I wish I had a snowstorm for my birthday. And then it would snow and they'd get all mad at me. Like I had anything to do with it. I'm trying to implement integration with ServiceNow that requires fetching an access token via an authorization code flow that has supposedly been supported since the Istanbul release. I've tried the following instructions. OAuth authorization code flow.html from our Jakarta docs page. My app receives the authorization code fine, but when I attempted to exchange it for an access token by hitting the OAuth token.do endpoint, I always receive the response of access denied, server error. Because that's the way computers talk. They do. They talk to each other that way. Unless you want to hear the Star Trek computer talk. Working. What's in the tea this morning? Just the old lemon ginger. Did not spike it today. Not that I spike it any other day. I have also tried following the accepted solution from this post, but I always want to get the same error back. Is there some configuration I missed? Going to OAuth token.do. This is one of those things that gets really deep really quick. And like I said, everyone is unique. So I am going to have to pass on that one. Took a look. Can't hurt to take a look. Windows credential authentication failed. That's from iTom. Windows credentials. Curious what they're doing. I had somebody ask me a question this morning on that's the second iTom thing I've seen, and it's not even 6:30 a.m. No, ladies and gentlemen, just to clear things up, I don't know everything about ServiceNow. Oh, solely. I must be that knowledge is getting closer, and I'm getting excited. It's kind of like Christmas. Every year I look forward to it, and the closer it gets, the more excited I get. And then it gets here, and then it's like Christmas, and I get to the end and I say, I never want to do this again. But about a month later, I start looking forward to it again. Nathan, hey Chuck, can you provide your insight on this thread? I am a similar situation. Catalog item is visible only for admins and not for other users. You can't post a full URL into the chat, but if you can give me this, anything past the ServiceNow.com part, like community ID equals, paste that in there. I'll be able to, should be able to take care of it. Had an issue yesterday. Sorry. For whatever reason, they don't want full URLs in there to spam up the comments. But I will take a look if you can get me the URL. Otherwise, send me an email and I will do my best to pull that across. We don't have user-to-user messaging on the community yet. That would be interesting. Of course, chat would take away from the threaded capabilities of this. Let's refresh this screen, see what else has come in. There we go. Society. Let's see what we've got. Always willing to take a look. Trying to copy and paste that out of there. Put it into here, so if I can remember the whole URL. Community / let's get an example one and undo this part. We need just from the sysid on out. See what happens. Yesterday we were getting some kind of login issue. Crazy thing. Hi, catalog item is not visible to ESS users even if there is no role of the item. Oh, okay, so I suspect your reply is in here. Yes, no? I'm not seeing anything that's newer than 3 years ago. Help me out. Where are we going with this? 3 years ago, 3 years ago, 3 years ago. Did you ever find a solution to this problem? You're saying that I have a similar situation. Catalog item is visible only to admins and not for other users. So catalog item visibility, the best way to do it these days, I'm just going to give you a quick tutorial on catalog item visibility. So if you go to maintain items under service catalog, you will see, yes, I want to leave that. I was trying something out. You will see, where'd my water go? Let's take this standard laptop, for example, right here. And let's go to the right scope, wait for things to finish redrawing, and then make them redraw again. When you change scope, it likes to do that. Okay. On the bottom of the form, I still have debugging on from the other day. On the bottom of the form, we have these various related lists. Turn on the related list by going to the form menu, configure related lists. Okay, and go to, is it can view, can use? There's something in here for this. Approval by group, available for and not available for. That's what it is. So it's not available for and available for. Turn on those two lists. I like to put them in this particular order so that I see inclusion before exclusion. This uses a feature called user criteria. User criteria, I'm going to come back to this, so let me put a quick favorite on there. Create favorite, we'll just make it look like a mobile phone. Orange for now, puts it on the favorites. And if I look for under system, service catalog, user criteria, I can define who this is available for. Now, if you don't specify who it's available for and not available for, it's going to be available for everybody. But you can also use this definition called any user. See, it's not filtered to any users, any groups, any locations, any departments. Earlier implementations were only available to roles. So what you should check first is to see if it's limited to just your admin users, check the roles. This one says SNC internal. You can see it went away really quickly there, but theoretically it's not used anymore. Check the roles field and make sure that it's not limited to any particular roles. Also make sure that your available for has the appropriate user criteria definition in there. So if I want to make this available for any user, I could do that, and it becomes very explicit rather than implicit. But I also noticed this one has a not available for. Maybe this isn't available for European users or something. I'm going to go back down to the bottom of this list and see what that entry for not available for is. It's not available for external users. So if anybody's not an employee, if this were a public page, they would not see this. So do some checking around the user criteria, understand what it's available for, what it's not available for. Also, you may want to check the legacy versions of that. Before we had user criteria, we had these related lists available to location, available for, this was sort of an early implementation of that before we consolidated these into one definition record. The problem with this older implementation is if you wanted to make a group of CIs, you would have to visit each one and say, it's available for this location or this group, and modify each one of those. Now we can encapsulate that definition into one thing and reuse that very easily over and over again, making maintenance much easier. So if somebody says, hey, we need to, it's available to our European users, but just our Great Britain users, we can modify that user criteria definition to do that. So that is a little bit about user definitions. Check those out. Make sure the legacy stuff isn't getting in the way. Make sure the roles aren't getting in the way. If you can't see the roles on the form, you can always go to the lists. Where is my list of catalog items? Because there's a UI policy that says, hey, we're using user criteria now. I'm not going to show you the roles list. That's obsolete. You could still personalize the list columns, put the roles on there, and see what it says. So you know that that's not getting in the way. So roles is on there. Aha. There it is. SNC internal, SNC internal, SNC internal, so on and so forth. So make sure it doesn't say admin in there somewhere. So if you're still not able to find the answer, post it to the community. Let other people tear that apart and see what they say. So I'm reluctant to give more answers on that. This was a general overview of user criteria. that I want to give to the viewers. But again, if we start having this discussion in the thread of the chat, no one's ever going to find this information later. So thank you very much. Let's go on to the people who have posted in the community. Let's go to the while loop not excluded glide record query. Oh, authorization code flow. We did that one 19 minutes ago. You know what? I saw something in there that caught my eye. And now it's gone. I wonder if it was just solved. Or it was sorted in a different order. Nope, it's gone. uRequester was reference on task table. Form context menu button with submenus. How to get summon. I want to find the difference between two date time fields and need to update the duration field. That one, 40 replies. Wow. Something is crazy with that discussion. Not going there. Okay, 9 months ago, uRequester was reference on task table, but made a mistake by changing it to a string. So now requester shows sysid instead of name. I'm trying to change it back to reference field, but it errors out. And I also check the displayed checkbox. Any other fix besides cloning from prod to dev? Rename the requester field to requester bad. You can't rename fields. Once they're named, they're named. This was, yeah, you can't rename fields. That's the problem. Create a new requester to reference this. The issue I have with this is that you cannot rename fields. It will always be uRequester at the database level. If your fields have the right value, meaning a sysid, then export the data. Remove the, oh, is it going to change the references? No. Remove the, delete the field. Create the new field as a reference field. Here. Let's put this in as a bulleted or a numbered list. It'll look more procedural that way rather than a bunch of comments. Delete the field. Create the new field as a reference field. Sysuser. Then import the old values back. As long as they're sysids, they should be just fine. If you made the requester field the display value, that's what's going to display when you reference the task record. That's going to be a problem. Okay. What else do we have that we can dig into? I've got a couple of things in the inbox. Who wins if it's available for and not available for? If we have the same role in both, for instance. I believe once it's granted access, it doesn't take it away, but I'd have to check on that. So if you said this is available for anyone in Atlanta, but not available for anyone in Atlanta, I think it's like ACLs. Once you're granted access to that, you're granted. It's not going to then take it away. Good question. Very good question. Okay, refreshed screen. Glide. OAuth flow is still there. Let's look a little deeper. What's come in the last few hours? How to export and import the update set with automation. Okay, ooh, that's a challenging thing. I understand the reason why you'd want to automate your update sets. I want to promote the completed update set in dev, test, and test to prod using automation. Any help here would be appreciated. I want to say there might be something in the share portal. I'll look there in a second. But I would say be careful with this. My first instinct is be careful for what you wish for. Many organizations have strict controls about who, what, when, where, why, etc., you can apply update sets. Things need to be reviewed, previewed and reviewed. Automating this could let in baddies without anyone knowing. You gotta remember, you got a lot of developers in dev that could put something into an update set. Ideally, you want to use scopes and then push those things, publish them, and install them. Okay, I want to look at the share portal, share.servicenow.com. Haven't mentioned this in a while. Handy collection of user-contributed solutions, applications. Maybe it's a script. Maybe it's a service portal widget. Lots of stuff out there. Let's look for update set. See what we can find. Translate, better one-click approval. Auto backup configuration. Do you worry that your instance you're working on will get cloned over with without someone giving you a heads up? Are you worried that you're going to... It sounds like an advert. Worry no longer. I love that. That's probably not how I would write it, because I don't know exactly what that does. But add remove using DOM. Please don't use that. 0 stars. Ooh. Add SP widget. Automate. How about automate update set? Let's look for that instead. Automate update set. I think every one of these records has an update set. Automated approval reminders. Automated deployment. A way to deploy update sets faster instead of waiting for ServiceNow to retrieve update sets and commit the manual process. The script automatically monument. Might want to take a look at that one. Automated update set closer. Interactive home pages. Let's take a look at this one. Automated deployment. Way to deploy update sets faster instead of waiting for ServiceNow to retrieve update sets and commit in the manual process. These scripts automate the manual process. The script will have to be modified for your company. All right, I offer that as an option. This solution from the share portal as an option. Make that a link, and I just discovered that I've simply been pasting these in and then it overwrites the current page. I didn't realize there was a target window or target field down here to set it to open in a new window. So now we got that. And, oh, hey, I got a quick discussion I want to make to you. We replied, so we ring the bell. I don't know if you noticed, if you're watching yesterday's episode, there was no music at the end. I hit the button and my ear was listening to my headphones just off screen and saying, why don't I hear the music? Anyway, smile, wave, and see you tomorrow. After the show, I went on a tirade to find out what happened to the music. It was apparently playing on the audio computer, but it wasn't getting out. I rebooted the mixer, I rebooted the computer, I stopped and started all the apps related to that. It turns out, since I'm on a Mac, there is a mute key on the keyboard, okay? And I had inadvertently bumped that. Now my message for all of this nonsense, after 20 minutes of searching for this, is don't overlook the simple. This is particularly true, or also true, I shouldn't say particularly true, also true when you're doing software debugging. Hey, my business rule isn't triggering. Is it the condition? Is it the script? Am I doing the right thing? Is it data? Did you uncheck active perhaps? I've done that. I thought I was checking the advanced button or unchecking it, and I unchecked the active. It's happened, and it can cause lots of frustration. So one of these days, I'm going to learn to start with the simple. Is it plugged in? Instead of trying the complex things, I've got a multi-$1,000 mixer in front of me, and I thought, what did I do? Did the cat walk out? No, the cats haven't been in this room. I don't know what's going on. Good morning, Francis, another UK viewer. Thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for the walkthrough. I tried a small tweak in the entitlement script, and now it's working. Glad it's working, Nitin. Let's get back to work. How to export an update set with automation. It's already half past the hour. Time flies when you're having fun with friends. Thanks for joining us. Glad you could make it on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you get the notifications. I don't expect everybody to watch every episode of this. It's sort of like a daily news story. You will learn a little bit out of each show. We did some best practices. We did some user criteria. There's a lot to learn about this platform. I'm going to dish it out in little bits and pieces. But if you miss a day, that's fine. Don't think you have to go back and watch everything from November 20th. Actually, those first ones were kind of boring. I only recently woke up in the morning. I was watching one and I said, gee, I wish I had the same energy for the broadcast that I do in the morning that I do for the evening. So I'm just pretending this is the evening, except the birds are singing to announce the new day. Let's go to the community inbox, see what's new. I've got a couple of messages there. Still don't have my dynamic little mailbox indicator, but we'll get that. Good morning from chilly Ottawa, Jeff. Thanks for joining us. Ottawa won't be chilly for long. It's the end of March. How to use the watermark notification update set. Let's see what has happened with this discussion. The author has responded. I'm waiting. Hey, it goes right to the response. Thank you for the reply. My actual requirement is when a user receives notification from ServiceNow, and if he replies to it, it should be added as a comment in the request. Let's scroll that up just a little bit so we can all read it together. When the user receives a notification from ServiceNow, and if he replies to it, it should be added as a comment in the request, and state should be changed. Can we achieve this via inbound actions? Absolutely. Absolutely you can. There are examples of this. You can absolutely do this. I encourage you to take a look at some of the out-of-box examples for inbound actions. Very easy to do. Current.state equals your state value here. Current.update. Ta-da! Done and done. Merge CIs without losing task incident, change data. This came in yesterday, and somebody said, hey, we're merging CIs. And what's happened is both will have references to tasks and incidents and changes and other records from that task.cmdbci field. And they said, if I merge them, say, this way, then the one that was over here suddenly has a whole bunch of broken references. How do I fix those up? I said, you got to go through all those other records and merge, find the records for the old record value and put it into the new record value. And that was marked as correct. So a very simple script. Just go through whatever the table is. Maybe it's task, maybe it's incident, maybe it's change, whatever table you want to go through. Find all of the records where the CMDB CI value is the value of your old record and update it to the value of the new record and do a rec.update. So there we are. It was done. Ashutosh replied, on-change client script is not populating values. This thread is getting a little long. I don't know why this was. Oh, there is a solution. They did find an answer. I apologize for this. This one's over. Woo! Celebrate the little things. Final solution. I solved this issue. It worked for me. So this is the client script that says, hey, go out. If this field changes, go do a GlideAjax call to get email address. Call the get email function. And they were trying to pass back multiple values that were, first of all, they weren't separated by anything. So it was all getting mashed together. There was an email address in there. There was an employee number in there. There was a user ID. It was just a big mess. Then they tried separating with commas. And I said, commas could still be in that string somewhere and are going to mess you up. It's happened to me. I've done it. If you're passing back one or more values, best option is put it in a JSON payload. This is how REST APIs work. They give you information in a JSON payload or an XML payload. It's something that can be parsed and contain and encode those weird characters so that they don't mess you up. So the answer is, yay, it worked. So the object comes back out of the response. No need to parse it here. It's already been stringified. Really? No, you need to parse. If it should be coming back as a string. I'm surprised this actually works without a JSON.parse. So I replied, great, glad it worked. But again, oops, I just closed my inbox and I thought I had one more in there. Let's go back. Inbox, maybe I only had two. The end result is put your information that you're passing back, whether it's a scripted REST API, whether it's a processor, whether it's a GlideAjax call, pass it in some known format. JSON works best. With JSON.stringify, you're passing back the string. JSON.parse takes that string and turns it back into an object that you can then use in your application. Very easy. I still see two messages hiding in here, looking for the blue dots. Thought I marked them all. You know what? Can't find them, but what I do have is some links from yesterday that I want to look at for you. Bring that back to the fore. Okay, on-change client script is not populating values. That's the one we just talked about. Never mind. Okay, since it was in my inbox anyway. Let's go to the next one. That was a fast one. And I think we may have already talked about another one of these also. Can knowledge base articles live in multiple categories? Oh, this one came up a couple of years ago and somebody said, hey, has this happened yet? About every release we see stuff like this. That people will go and ask about a feature that's been asked for a while, and a lot of times they say, hey, go put in an enhancement request. We're not going to know. I don't think our product managers look through the community all too often. But Jay Spenson says it's on the roadmap. Anywhere we can see it other than roadmap items like this. And Fogg writes back and says, why use categories? This is outdated anyway. Rather use tags. Interesting. I want to do an experiment on knowledge. First of all, let's go to knowledge. And let's see. I don't know if you can search on tags. So let's go to the knowledge base. You know what? I want to go down here to all articles. Where are they? All articles. Let's put something in the... My watch is telling me I only slept for 3 hours. That's a big fat lie. I was up a couple of times last night, but I did not sleep for 3 hours. Probably closer to 9. I feel well rested. So if you put a tag in here, add tag, and this is, I don't even know what we're looking at, nutrition. Add tag, healthy. Let's just put in health as a tag. All right, and we save that. I thought tags were specific to me. I'm going to talk about that icon in just a little bit. I don't know if tags are going to get you where you need to go, though. If I go back to the knowledge, and I look for health. What is spam? Yeah, no, I'm not seeing it, but if I look for nutrition, unless there's some indexer that, yeah, it's not working. I don't think search works the way they expect it to. Will tags replace categories? Whoop. Or how should we position these two concepts? Tags start out as a personal thing. Your tags are yours unless you have tag, was it tag admin role? I'll have to check. Let's check. I know there's a role that allows you to say, no, make these tags available for a group. Roles. User roles. This is the way I roll. If I don't know an answer, I just start poking around. Go on a hunch. Tags admin. Okay. Tags admin role, which lets you share with a group or make global. I think maybe only admin can make them global. I'll have to double check on that. I just tried this by tagging one of the out-of-box articles and did a search. It didn't find it based on the tag. Don't think knowledge search searches tags. It would be nice if it did. And ding! Don't bump the mute button. Back to the main page. I think I have one other in here. Click, click, click. Thank you for watching. 20 minutes to the hour. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Let's bring that one back to the home page. That one's at the home page. Loading. Take a drink. How to trigger an outbound curl. This was yesterday, I believe. And said, hey, I have a URL which I want to trigger an outbound request. The URL works fine with the curl command. I've created a REST outbound post method and business rule to trigger when the new incident is created, but I still don't see my API being triggered. Am I missing a step to perform this task? So they said, they want to use a curl. You don't use curl from ServiceNow to do an outbound REST. You use an outbound REST message. So that's what I said. There's no command line utility. Curl is for the command line when you don't have this capability. We've got a very easy way to define a message. If you're still having issues, and I didn't reply to this earlier, if you are still having issues, make sure you use the test form link to test your outbound message to ensure communications, endpoints, etc. are correct. If you get back, I can't stand typing on the bottom of the screen for whatever reason. If you get back a successful test, then try the script from your VR in scripts background to ensure it is working. If that works, then double check the condition to ensure your business rule is being triggered when it's supposed to. Hint, use, we talked about these a couple days ago, debug business rules to help understand when the BR is being triggered and not, and why. Okay, that's what all is happening on the bottom of this screen. If you look here, I did debug business rules a couple of days ago. If you weren't here for that, I went to System Diagnostics and said, hey, turn on business rules. Waiting for it, waiting for it. Down here, where is it? Debug all, debug log, debug SQL, debug business rules is in there, right there. And it turns on this message when you start going through lists and forms and other things. And I can see, for example, here, it said, here is a global business rule or global scope going to the knowledge query on this table. And that's what this little right arrow is for. I went into this business rule and I came out of this business rule. Sometimes these are nested. Down here you can see I'm skipping this one. And why? Because the condition didn't match, and it will tell you what the condition is. Condition not satisfied, filter condition group list val changes. You can also link, see how I hover over that, I can be taken directly to that business rule. So debugging business rules is very, very easy from that standpoint. because you want to know when it's being triggered and when it's not. Custom UI actions. I should have shift-clicked that one. New word. Will there be any issue if we deactivate out-of-box UI action and create a new UI action with the same name? Should be fine as long as you don't use the same action name. Actually, you do want to use the same action name. I'm going to say you won't have a problem if all you change is the active field. You'll continue to get updates to that UI action if it changes in future updates, in future upgrades, in future versions of ServiceNow. I'm going to disagree with Mike and say the action name should be the same. Wait a minute. You don't have to deactivate it to do that. Okay. If it's on the same table, so you can do an override. Example, different functionality on incident than task. Oh, I did an article on this. UI action overrides. Where is it? Hopefully our search will bring it to the top of the list. Waiting. Take a drink. Did I talk about knowledge yet? UI action, submit, Helsinki, UI action. I want the discussion. There it is. I always have the quotes for the blog articles, I think. Check out this article I wrote a while ago that explains. Blog, UI action overrides. The idea is the action name, it gets a little tricky though. You don't want to use the same action name more than once on a form because it gets confused. They have to be unique. You can't have a, I tried this one time with sysverb_cancel, I think it was. And I put a button and a context menu that had the same thing. It did not work. It said you can only have one of these. So the action name can only appear once on the form. So I said, fine, let's put it, I think somebody wanted a cancel button for the process, and we wanted to do a save as draft button so that they didn't have to hit all the mandatory fields. They could save work halfway through. If you got to have a save as draft field or button, or UI action, your form's too long. It shouldn't take 40 minutes to fill out a form. Okay, let's find some other solutions, but that's a discussion for another day. Jeff was saying, was just going to ask you, talk about knowledge yet. All right, knowledge, let's do the knowledge thing. It's getting close to the end, and I don't want to miss this. So if you haven't already signed up for Knowledge, please go to knowledge.servicenow.com and get your name in there. Sign up. It is going to be the event of the year. This is the big one, people. Las Vegas, May 7th through 10th at the Venetian. So you know it's in Vegas. You know it's going to be a good time. We are going to be doing 2 days of pre-con training. If you want to get some training in, whether it's sysadmin training, application developer training, ITOM training. My acronyms got stuck there for a second. Too many of them up in my head. You can get the 2-day training at a discounted rate and get that in at the same time. So Sunday, Monday is pre-con training. The conference starts Monday night with our big welcome elbow rubbing party. Then Tuesday's content, Wednesday's content, Thursday's content. CreatorCon is going on through all 3 of those days. So we will be, make sure you check the checkbox for CreatorCon so you get that extended content. No additional charge. But if you don't check it, then you can't participate in the Mission to Mars. Ooh, there's a contest. The hackathon. Ooh, there's another contest. The sessions on scripted REST APIs, or lots of good stuff. I've been participating in a lot of the session reviews, and man, I wish I had about 100 of me so I could go to all of these, but that's not going to work. Just did some of the final reviews for some of these sessions this week. We are getting those in the pipeline. Everything is due. If you are a speaker, I look forward to seeing you there. Congratulations. And if you're not a speaker, I look forward to seeing you there. Bring business cards. You will be doing a lot of networking. So make sure you keep in touch with those people after Knowledge. Keep your career alive. I'm not going to do the whole 10-minute career management thing like I did last week. But understand there are some opportunities there. I'll raise my hand. I'm a classic. It worked for me at Knowledge 10. You never know what the future holds. You could come back from Knowledge and find yourself out of a job. Not because of Knowledge, hopefully. What happens in Vegas usually ends up on Facebook the next day. But I will be attending for the first time this year. Very much looking forward to it. My advice for first-timers, look through the agenda. If you're going with a coworker, divide up and say, all right, I'm going to take things on ITOM, you take things on custom applications, or I'll do integrations and you do the architect stuff. It's very handy if you've got people at different roles. The CIO is going to be looking for different objectives than a developer. So you may be hanging around the developer hub at CreatorCon stuff, watching things in the developer theater, and going to IoT sessions, and your CIO is clearly going to have a different agenda. That worked well for me at the first time I went too. I said, all right, we had 3 of us. I said, you go to these type of sessions, I'll go to those type of sessions. Granted, it was a lot smaller conference in 2010. There were only 500 people, and I think four vendors. The vendor hall was in the hall. It was like 4 card tables lined up. I really wish I had more pictures to explain what was happening. It was a fun time. And again, could be a life-changing event. Definitely will be informative. Definitely will be entertaining. Be responsible. Have a good time. And you will get more out of this 1 week than you could possibly imagine. Not to say that snugs are not valuable. They very much are. Talking to your account team is very valuable to understand what direction you want to go in. But this is great from an immersive, lots of hands-on labs. My good friend Craig Stepp and a couple of other people will be handling all of the instances. We're looking at doing something like 50 to 60,000 instances for these labs and training to be orchestrated by ServiceNow. So every time you're using a ServiceNow instance, it's like that wasn't there a couple hours ago. And when your session is over, it will be gone. So it's there just for you. You get your own instance. This isn't a big shared environment. These are unique instances, much like you see over here on my personal developer instance. For you, for this exercise, they may have some stuff preloaded on them to make the lab run easier. When we're talking about ITOM, we're not going to expect you to go set up the mid server and deploy and discover your own data centers, that kind of thing. It's going to be in there so you can get that learning experience as effectively as possible. Anyway, I've gone down a huge rabbit hole on that one. I encourage you, sign up for that, and it's really going to be well worth it. If you've got any questions about it, let me know. If I can't find the answer, I will find somebody who can. So thank you very much. We've got just a few minutes left on this. Let's see what's on the home page. Do a quick refresh on that. Well, it's refreshing, of course. Hail, hydrate. Wait for the page to load. One new thing in the mailbox. I'm going to bring that last tab over because I like my mailbox next there. Do you do that? Do you have a particular order, your routine, the way you like your browser tabs set up? I know I do when I'm in the community. It's just something I started a couple of years ago, and it seems like I have the community, then I have my inbox, then I have my instance, then I have docs, then I have the developer site. And if they're out of order, it makes it very hard to find. Let's see. How to get summed duration of RITM for waiting for approval to approve fulfillment. Performance analytics and reporting. Not a strong PI guy. Parse journal entries two separate values. All right, there is a get journal entry method on the glide element. See what we can do there, or glide record. Would it be possible to parse a journal entry to retrieve the timestamp username who made the update text? Yes, there is. So they're saying, ooh, get all journal entries. That's interesting. Okay, so they're going in and getting the length of all the journal entries after they split onto double new line. Timestamp isn't always, is it always going to be in the same place? Maybe, maybe not. I think you just query the journal table and match element ID to the SysID of the current record. This will split into two lines. I know it gets a little crazy, but I'm going to throw... We did regex. You know what? I haven't referenced these in a very, very long time. Now, I don't remember the numbers. I told you there's only about 5 that I do remember the numbers from the Now episodes. We did regex for a 3-part series, I want to say. I should really put that in just a Chrome bookmark. Why say it when you can do it? Community. Oh, look, there's Now episode list, but I'll bet it's the old bookmark. Stop that. Bookmark manager. I don't want it to go to the old one. I don't want to do the redirect. That's kind of a tiny screen. Edit. Yeah, that's the old URL. Let's make the new URL done. Okay. So, regex. Ah, oh, come on. I know we did a regex series. 25, 26, service portal, cloud management, regular expressions. That's why I didn't call it regex. 31 and 32. I tend to use regular expressions to get patterns of text extracted from strings like this. I encourage you to watch episodes, what did I say, 31 and 32? That tab, 31 and 32. Yep. Episodes 31 and 32 of Tech Now for more information how regular expressions can be used in ServiceNow. And Tech Now episode list. You know, I have a macro for this. I don't know, I'm not using that. And I think I did upgrade the macro. There it is. The question is this a target new window? No. But it is the new link. Okay, that verifies that. Reply. I should test that link just to make sure it works. Click. And come on. Whew. It's the suspense that kills you. And with that, we are at the top of the hour. There is one more thing in the inbox. Let me go take a look at that real quick, just so I don't end on this link. When will we be able to register for the sessions at Knowledge? Soon, Jeff. Very, very soon. I don't have a specific date. Every time I ask, the answer I get, it will happen when it happens. It's now the 28th of March. Yes, I had to look at my watch to remind myself what day it is. It's one of those things I just can't seem to remember. I would expect any day now. So keep an eye on that site, because some of these sessions are going to fill up very, very quickly. And don't worry, if they do fill up, that we are watching which ones are at capacity first, so that we can determine whether we need to run a second session of that. So if you don't get into the sessions that you want right away, come back and continue to look, see if there is a second session offered. You can also send an email and say, hey, I'd like to vote for this one being offered twice. I wasn't able to get in. Never hurts to speak your voice. Okay, how to use the watermark notifications update. That is the one that I said, hey, it just kind of happens automatically. You can use the current object. And let's see. Thank you. And let me know what happens. Oh, it's already marked as correct. I don't need to reply to that. There we go. We're ending on a correct answer. Can't ask for more than that. And thank you very much for watching today. I encourage you, stay subscribed to the channel, stay subscribed to the Twitch channel, whatever it takes, so that you get notified when this new content comes out. And I look forward to seeing you again here tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you at Knowledge. And until then, learn something, share something, be helpful to other people. Makes the world a greater place. Take care. Bye now.